It is Kenny's Audiophile Record Reviews. Thank you very much for viewing my channel. As always, please like and subscribe. I sincerely appreciate that. In this video, I'm going to do a comparison between, gosh, maybe 4 or 5 different versions, whether they're analog or digital, of the famous Miles Davis Bitches Brew album. This is the one that was recently released as a posting date of this video by Mobile Fidelity. I'm going to compare this one with several other versions of the album. This is a video you should definitely check out. And also, consider checking out some of the other videos, comparison videos in regards to that album, because a lot of these comparisons are system dependent, personal opinion dependent. So you want to get a consensus or a, just several different opinions on this record, because some of the comparisons I noticed when comparing these albums are very close, and so you want to get different opinions before you spend that much bread on a record. But I'm gonna get started, and I'm gonna show you the albums that are included in this video. Oh, by the way, the particular albums that needed cleaning were clean with my Humming Guru ultrasonic record cleaner, and my stylus was clean with the stylus cleaner. I don't know if I would necessarily buy this one. It's kind of pricey compared to some of the competitors, but you got to keep your stylus clean. So before I do these comparisons, and every now and then I clean my stylus with stylus cleaner, because you got to take care of the health of your stylus on your cartridge, on your turntable. And oh, by the way, before I get started, I'd like to say that the turntable that I was using, I'll explain the equipment I was using during this comparison. I was using a Rega P8 turntable with a Apheta 3 cartridge. The Phono preamplifier is a Whest, that's Whest 0.20 Phono preamplifier. My preamplifier is a Pass Labs X2 preamplifier. And my amplifier is a tube amplifier. It's a balanced audio-technology VK60 tube amplifier. And my speakers are Kindel speakers. That's Kindel PLS-A speakers. They stand approximately 5 feet, maybe 8 inches off the ground. They're pretty tall for this music room, but they sound awesome when you listen to jazz and, jazz fusion, other, folk music and other types of music. But I'm going to show you this one first. The recent Mobile Fidelity issue. This one is different from previous issues because this album does not use the super vinyl. It states in the ad for this album that they opted to use just a regular 180 gram black vinyl because that created the best listening experience for this album. That's what they're claiming in this ad. As you can see, there's no ultra super vinyl sticker on this one, whereas I'll show you this Joni Mitchell one I have. There is a super vinyl sticker on this one. Hope that's coming out on the video. So that was pressed on just a regular black high quality 180 gram vinyl variant. And also this was produced from a 1/4 inch 15 IPS reel-to-reel tape. It went from analog master to DSD-64 to analog console to lathe. Normally, on a lot of their issues, this ultra disc issues, they go to DSD. I think it's 256. This one is DSD-64. Now, what goes into that decision making, I'm not so sure. Maybe the higher you go up, maybe some of the flaws in the original analog tape are enhanced. So maybe they had to scale it down to DSD-64. I don't know the reason why. But this is the album. I already opened up, obviously, and looked at it. I will take it out briefly and show you the contents of the box. Let's see. Oh, by the way, I'm number 707. It's interesting I got a number that low because I didn't pre-order this album. I literally bought this album the morning that they announced that it's going to be released or shipped. And I bought it then because I didn't want to get in that issue with MOFI and, you know, buy something and get it like, you know, 3-4 years later. So I literally bought it the morning it was released, and I got number 707. I thought it was going to get like, you know, 2,000 or something like that. But I'll show you the contents of the box. You know, comes with these sleeves. Oh, excuse the noise up above. That's my ceiling fan. I'm just trying to stay cool for this video. And each sleeve has the songs on that in its associated album. So that is the sleeve, and there's a record label. Again, they're not using super vinyl on this particular issue. So that's record 1, and this is the sleeve for record 2. If I had mentioned, this costs $125 in a record number 2. It's $125 plus shipping. I think mine with shipping, I usually get the cheapest shipping method. I'm in no rush to get it. Usually it's like $10, so it's probably $135. And this came out with the original facsimile of the original album cover, front and back. If you have the original album cover, and the inside of the album cover is the same. That beautiful picture of Miles Davis, along with this beautiful picture of Miles Davis. Looks like he's doing some type of artwork. Miles Davis was an artist later in his career. So that's a nice touch to the set. So I'm going to compare this Ultra Disc 1-step with the following albums. This is, I believe this was issued in 1987. This is a digitally remastered direct from the analog tapes version of the album. I think it was released around 1987. I'll show you one of its associated record labels. Having a strong opinion about this digitally remastered album. Sorry for this upside down. And I'm going to compare it to this earlier pressing of Miles Davis, Bitches Brew. Now, this is not a 2-eye pressing. I think this particular one, and this says GP 26 on the outer cover. I think this was issued soon after they changed the art of the 2-eye label. And I think it might be an early 70s repress of the album. This particular one. From what I can tell by the etchings or the markings in the dead wax, and when I look it up on Discogs, I believe this is an early 70s pressing of the album. And I also have this one that I bought at a swap meet. It's another Mobile Fidelity issue of the album. This has a seam split on top. I bought this sealed at a swap meet for $10. It was sealed at the seam splits on the top. I didn't mind. It was still sealed. So I'm going to compare the recent release, the 1-step release, to this release as well. This original master recording version of the record. And also, I'm going to compare it to a CD version of a record. This is a Miles Davis Sessions box set. So I'm going to compare it to the CD in this set. This is a nice set, by the way. It comes with alternate takes and, you know, sessions and stuff like that. It's a nice box set if you're into Miles Davis on CD. I'm going to compare it to that. And also, I'm going to compare it to a download from HD Tracks. It's a 96 kilohertz 24-bit file of Bitches Brew downloaded from HD Tracks. So I'm going to start with, I decided I'm going to start with this one, this digitally remastered version of the album that was released in 1987. This one, amongst all the sources I listened to, and oh, by the way, I'm going to go from my least favorite to my favorite. My least favorite to my favorite in this video, and this is my least favorite amongst all the sources I listened to for this comparison video. This version of the album is not very clear and defined in terms of definition. That's what this this version suffers from, this digitally remastered version from 1987. Again, I will show you the label. I'm not a fan of this particular album. It just doesn't sound clear and defined, and the instruments are not as detailed as they should, and the sound stage is not as defined and realistic compared to some of the other albums. I had the exact same issue with, see if I can find it, some of these other one. I did a comparison of a Dave Brubeck album. Here it is right here. This is another digitally mastered album issued by Columbia. And I didn't like this one either. This one, in the comparison video I did of Timeout, I believe this was the worst one in the comparison video. And I have several other albums in that digital series. At the time, I didn't have much to compare to when I was buying them new when they came out in the 80s. But now I do. My system's better. And I'm not a fan of a lot of these digitally remastered albums issued by Columbia at the time. I'm just simply not. Like I said, they lack detail. They lack the fine nuances of hearing music in the three-dimensional sound stage on an album. Why they decided to go the digital route at that particular time, I have no clue. They should just reissue this as a clean analog record, in my opinion. I guess digital was a thing then, but the digital in 1987 and the digital in 2025 are worlds apart. I don't recommend this album at all, in my opinion, compared to the other sources I'm going to compare it to in this video. That lacks detail and pristineness of sound. The next one that is my next favorite, and again, I'm going from my least favorite to the best, is the HD Tracks 96 kilohertz 24-bit file. That sounded better than this digitally remastered album. It was more wide in soundstage. The instruments were more defined in detail. Miles Davis's trumpet sound more realistic and in your face. And that HD Tracks version is better than that album, in my opinion. Now, what's better than that 96 kilohertz 24-bit file, in my opinion, is the CD version. You would think that the 96 kilohertz 24-bit file would sound better than the CD. In my opinion, the CD is more detailed, more refined, more fine in detail, although the CD has more tape hiss. All these sources that you're going to hear some tape hiss on them is something that's inherent in the master tapes, or tape, I should say. But this, if you can get by the tape hiss that you hear, this mix or this version of it, to me, sounds more pristine in sound than the 96 kilohertz 24-bit file, in my opinion. So I'm taking the CD, over the 1987 digitally remastered version and the 96 kilohertz 24-bit HD Tracks digital download. I just think it's more, like I said, if you can get by the noise, that's better, in my opinion. Now, a step up from that, a step from the CD. Now, we're getting close here. These two comparisons are close. This early 70s pressing sounds great. The cymbal hits, Miles Davis in the center of the soundstage, the keyboards sound, the keyboards sparkle on this one. This one is very good with the upper register, the cymbal hits, Miles Davis's trumpet. The sound stage is wider than the digital versions I just presented. And like I said, they do a great job on this one. They did a great job on this one with the upper frequencies or upper register, in my opinion. And this one is a favorite of mine in this comparison. We're going to see which one is the best in a minute. But this one is actually great. If you have an original pressing, which this is not a Columbia 2i. This came out probably a year or two after the 2i logo changed. But this one actually sounds great, in my opinion. If you have this one, this is the only one you have, there's no shame in that. This one actually sounds great. The next one up is the next favorite. We'll get to the top in a minute. Is this one, the original master recordings version of the album. This one and the this earlier pressing actually are fabulous, but they differ in a way. This one is not as great with the upper register, upper frequencies as the one that's close to the original pressing, but it's better in bass. I think the soundstage, this one compared to the earlier original pressing, or one that's close to original pressing, the soundstage on this one is more defined, more detailed, whiter, a little bit more in your face. The instruments are more like, they're just as fine as that one that's close to original pressing. But the bass on this one, in my opinion, on my system, to my ears, is better on this one, has better bass balance. And maybe the overall frequency range on this one is represented a little bit better, just a little bit. I mean, these are almost tied. If you like, a higher frequency range, this is the one compared to the original master recordings. If you like a little bit more bass, this is the one. It's just a matter of preference, but I think the soundstage is a fuller on this one. There's more detail, more, depth to the musical presentation in a three-dimensional sound space. Listen on a high-quality system on this one than the original one that's close to original pressing. So this one is second on my list. Now, what does the this one step have over all of them? This one has everything that this original master recording from MOFI has, but it does everything just a little bit better. The soundstage is full. The instruments are dimensional. Miles Davis' trumpet is pristine, and in the center of the soundstage, the cymbal hits are pristine. The keyboards, the way it was recorded, the way they represent themselves, it has great balance on this one. Maybe not the upper register of the one that's close to the original pressing, but overall, this is the better one amongst the one I'm presenting in this video, because overall it has a better balance. In a minute, I'm going to tell you which one I think is the best value, however. I should have said that at the beginning of the video. Overall, this is the best one. It's almost like a track and field race. If you were to compare this one to this one right here, this original master recording MOFI one, it's like somebody winning a race and breaking a world record, but they break it by, 1/100th of a second. It's that close between those two, in my opinion. And the one that's close to original pressing is not too far behind those two. But this one, in terms of overall presentation, a full and wide soundstage, a tall soundstage, a soundstage with depth and dimension, and represents the frequency range better, has great balance, represents Miles Davis's trumpet great in the middle of the soundstage in your room. This one is a little bit better than this one and the one that's close to original pressing, in my opinion. So I think on my system, this one sounds better, but it's marginally better over this one. Now this one, I think it's for sale for, again, this is a 2 LP settle, by the way. This one, I believe, is $60. That one step is $125. If you don't have the bread to buy the one step, this is a sweet spot as far as I'm concerned, because some of the original pressings are difficult to find in pristine condition. If you find one in pristine condition, it might cost more than a one step. I think if you're like a fan of Miles Davis, but you're not a completist, you don't need everything, you're looking for this album, I think this is the one. This original master recording MOFI version of the record. If you want to hear it in the best possible sound, at least amongst the records I have, this is the one, but it's only marginally better than this one right here, in my opinion. But I'm a huge Miles Davis fan, so I had to have this record. Like I said, I'm surprised I got number 707 without even pre-ordering. You think that I would have got, like, number 3,000 or 2,000 or something like this. But I really love this record. It sounds fantastic. I don't think I necessarily consider this like an audiophile record on the same level as Dave Brubeck's Time Out or Jazz at the Pawn Shop. But it's a fine recording nonetheless. It has some flaws. Regardless of the type or the version you have, you're going to hear some tape hiss during some of the quieter passages on Bitches Brew. But that, I think, is the greatest jazz fusion album ever made. So this album had to be done on a high quality vinyl pressing, in my opinion. You can debate that, which is the greatest jazz fusion album ever made. I did a video on that already. Bitches Brew comes out #1, in my opinion. But please leave your comments in the comment section below if you bought this record or do you plan to buy this one. Like I said, this is a better sounding version. The sweet spot, however, is this one right here. It's probably a better value. The one step sounds marginally better. This sounds fantastic as well. If you have original pressing, man, it would be cool. Would have been cool to have like a 2i version of that record. See what that sounded like. I bet that sounds spectacular because this one doesn't sound bad either. The original pressing doesn't sound bad either. This is not original pressing, but it's close to it. Please leave your comments in the comment section below. I really appreciate it. Thank you very much for taking the time to watch this video. I really appreciate that as well. Please leave your comments in the comment section below. God bless, strong love, and as always, more important than the music, keep the peace worldwide.